damn, bro. Agatha All Along keeps getting better and better as we go. But unfortunately, this episode was a bit of a step down. So let's review it. So we have reached that point in the series where we had to figure out the backstory of the teen, now that he's basically the new villain. So this entire backstory, I think, was handled pretty well, like a big car crash, him seeing things. We finally get to learn his name, and his name is William, which is very cool. And this episode was just very, very enjoyable in my opinion. But of course, like I said at the beginning of the video, it is still the weakest out of them all so far because it lacks really any story that could move our current story forward. It's just like giving us backstory to a character that really nobody wants to know the backstory for, you know? But we all experience those episodes in our shows where you have to figure out the background of every single little character. But sometimes you enjoy it, sometimes you don't. In this case, it was alright, you know? Nothing too major, but it was kind of like a detective episode. Because like he was looking for answers for certain things that went on, like, and he got to see this big bubble. So this episode, like, story wise, took place during WandaVision, which I really enjoyed about that. And also another thing I want to mention is the slight appearance of Alice. Now this is definitely not the same character that we usually know her to be, because that character is long gone and dead, but this is maybe like a variant of her, because as Marvel fans we are used to variants, like variant Loki, which ended up being the variant that we followed throughout the entirety of Loki. But that little scene where they brought Alice back was very, very creative, and I like that because she's one of my favorite characters. But the backstory was kind of alrightly done with the teen, with William, because like the entire like church thing, is that really what you want to call it? The celebration. Then we also get to see Lilia, you know, the old witch. We also get to see her character in this little booth and is showing teen some magic, I guess. And also, while we are at it, honestly, we all remember that scene as Marvel fans. Like, we all remember the viral scene of Zemo dancing in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We all remember that, you know? And it was dumb, it was stupid, it was fun. The teen, like, danced in a silly way in this one. Like, moving his shoulders. Like, I'm like, oh my god. Have you ever went to dancing school or something? Like, please, stop dancing like an idiot. Like, Jesus, bro. Don't dance at a party if you don't know how to dance. It's very dumb. That is definitely like the worst scene. But the best scene is that crazy car accident, which I think they've used the most blood in that scene that they've probably used in like the MCU, to be honest. That was a pretty damn bloody scene. Like blood on his forehead, blood on his nose, blood on the window, blood on the shirt, blood everywhere. And guess what? Guess who was the officer? The officer was Alice. That's really how she comes in this episode. Like, that's how she appears in this episode. And the entire hospital sequence there was nice, and like the home sequence where we get to see where this character grew up and his background, his room, his boyfriend, you know, like all these key things that could have made his character the way he is. And also, one of my favorite things about this episode is the inclusion of Wanda's fake brother. Like, think of it, this Marvel fans, remember all the way back in WandaVision, you know, Pedro, he was in the show. That same actor returns, and turns out that he was just another kidnapped person playing Pietro, which of course it makes sense. Everybody was basically puppets in that show. So, and he's really paranoid, but it was really good acting there. Honestly, props to him for pulling it off. That was definitely my favorite part of the episode. But then we get to see basically all the story leading up to the teen sneaking into Agatha's house, then seeing the chase scene, and we get to see Agatha via like the flashback with some story getting told, and then we get to see a little bit of the road with him and Agatha talking and preparing to go on a journey together alone again, basically. And that's really when the credits roll. So basically that's where the episode ends. Now, obviously this is, in my opinion, the weakest out of them all, but I still found enjoyment in this episode. You know, I didn't completely hate it. There was some things I did like, a couple things I didn't like, but nothing too major. This show is still killing it. It's still amazing. Honestly, I'm very excited to see the future of this show. Can't wait for future episodes. But in terms of this video, that's really all I have to say about episode 6 of Agatha All Along. So that's all. Bye, guys.